Good evening, and welcome to the CCM Fans Report. I'm Arthur Fischel.
And I'm Martha Fischel, though judging by the calendar, we're actually a historical reenactment society tonight.
I do not follow your meaning.
The game was last Wednesday, dear. It is now Tuesday night. Most of the fans have already celebrated the win, sobered up, and moved on to wondering if their away bay laundry is dry. But you wouldn't budge on moving the show forward, would you?
This program has a scheduled broadcast slot, Martha. It would be a betrayal of our journalistic standards to chase the news cycle like a common tabloid.
Oh, I know. You told me. You said I refuse to bow down to the APL's lack of time management and move our scheduled program. It would be a betrayal of our journalistic integrity.
I do not sound like that.
Fine. You sound like this.
I refuse to bow down to the APL's talk of time management and move our scheduled program. It would be a betrayal of our journalistic integrity. Right.
Love you, dear.
Tonight's headlines. The Mariners travelled to Campbelltown for a match that was, quite literally, electric. We examine a game delayed by lightning, haunted by the sound of gambling machinery, and commentated by men who seem to have forgotten which side of the M1 they belong to.
Plus, we find out why the MacArthur mascot is a personal insult to my husband.
It is a cow, Martha.
His name is Arthur, dear, and honestly, he's a lot more succinct than you. He managed to summarize the entire game with a thumbs up, while you're still halfway through your opening preamble.
The context for this midweek encounter was simple. It was 6th versus 7th.
6-7.
Yes, as I was saying, with both teams sitting on
6-7.
Right. The match was delayed for 25 minutes due to lightning. Paramount Plus, in their infinite wisdom, decided the best way to keep the audience engaged was to provide a silent CCTV feed of a man walking around a pitch on his mobile phone. It was gripping television.
I actually thought he was the new technical director. He looked like he had a plan, which is more than I can say for the MacArthur strikers.
I confess I fell asleep during the delay. I was eventually woken by a repetitive, metallic ringing that I can only describe as a frantic Pokie room paying out a jackpot in a regional RSL. I genuinely believed I had been transported into the VIP lounge of the Campbelltown Catholic Club.
It was just the cowbells, dear. Though I agree, the sound of constant, unearned noise is very Campbelltown.
The sound was a cacophony that felt remarkably on-brand for a club whose administrative history reads like a series of suspicious withdrawals. However, the real noise came from the commentary booth. Ben Homer referred to himself and Daniel McBreen as two blokes from Newcastle.
I nearly choked on my tea.
Daniel McBreen, the man who won a grand final for the Mariners in 2013. The man who won the Joe Marston Medal in a yellow shirt. To refer to Daniel McBreen as a bloke from Newcastle is not just a geographical error, it is a targeted assault on the history of this football club.
To be fair, Arthur, he was raised there. He played for Toronto Awaba and Edgeworth. He's about as Novocastrian as a stale sausage roll from a Harry's Café de Wheels.
That is entirely irrelevant. One does not simply come from Newcastle after scoring 19 goals in a championship season for the Central Coast. His birthplace should have been legally changed to the Gosford Hungry Jacks by executive decree. If McBreen is a Novocastrian, then I am a professional breakdancer.
It's the hair, Arthur. They see a bit of styling gel and assume he's from Derby Street.
The efficiency stats were equally baffling. Despite having only 40% of the ball, the Mariners were surgically precise. MacArthur, conversely, spent 60% of the match passing the ball to one another with the urgency of a Sunday afternoon bowls club.
It's that efficiency gap again. MacArthur are like a chef who spends 3 hours on prep work only to burn the toast. We just walked in, put the kettle on, and made a 3-course meal.
The breakthrough came in the 37th minute. Bailey Brantman was brought down by Anthony Caceres in the box. Alfie McCalmont converted the penalty with a level of composure I usually reserve for filing my tax returns.
A tidy lead at the break, though the interval itself was, well, you had some thoughts, didn't you?
The match was almost overshadowed by the broadcaster's decision to conduct a formal mid-game interview with that plush ruminant. It was a true nadir for the medium, watching a reporter spend 3 minutes questioning a man in a polyester suit who can only respond with a thumbs up.
Oh, it was brilliant. The forum was buzzing about it. Someone called it the most insightful interview of the season because nobody actually said anything stupid.
It is a vacuum of personality. Furthermore, I object to being associated, even nominally, with a mute bovine. I prefer my namesakes to have at least a modicum of verbal dignity.
The scoring eventually resumed in the 65th minute, when Bailey Brantman finally got his reward, a shot from the edge of the box that took a deflection off Christian Popovich. It's always nice when a Popovich helps the Mariners out, isn't it?
It is a family tradition I hope continues. However, the game briefly threatened to become interesting. Caceres redeemed his earlier error with a thunderous strike in the 67th minute.
It was a cracking goal, to be fair. Redders didn't even move. He just watched it fly past like it was a bill he didn't want to pay.
The Bulls' hope lasted exactly 60 seconds. Tomislav Uskok was shown a straight red for a challenge on Nathaniel Blair. It was a tackle so late it could have been delivered by the New South Wales rail network.
And Blair wasn't done. 10 minutes later, he's clean through, and Robinson, the Bulls keeper, comes flying out like he's trying to catch a bus. Clattered him. 9 men left for MacArthur.
At that point, the MacArthur bench looked less like a football team and more like a waiting room for a disciplinary hearing. Blair eventually sealed the result in the 84th minute, poking home a Sabit-Nur cross to make it 3-1.
3 goals, 2 red cards, and a cow named Arthur. If that's not a midweek classic, I don't know what is.
To help us understand the mathematical impossibility of the Bulls' performance, we are joined by our lead data scientist, Anna Lytics. Anna, MacArthur controlled 60% of the ball and yet looked entirely incapable of utilising it.
Correction, Arthur. MacArthur didn't control the ball. They merely babysat it. My data suggests the 60% possession rate for a Mills-Stojovski side is statistically equivalent to a malfunctioning Roomba. Lots of frantic motion, 0 actual cleaning, and a high probability of getting stuck in a corner of its own making.
Bit harsh, isn't it? They do score that one worldie.
An anomaly, Martha. Anthony Caceres' expected goals, or XG, from that distance was 0.03. Scientifically speaking, that goal was an act of God, whereas MacArthur's overall efficiency in the final third currently ranks lower than a dial-up modem in a thunderstorm.
And the Mariners?
Efficiency is 40% higher than the league average. We are currently averaging 1 goal for every 4 minutes we actually bother to look at the opponent's net. Nathaniel Blair's Menace Index is also off the charts. He entered the field and reduced the MacArthur squad size by 18% within 12 minutes.
Is that a real stat, Anna?
It is now. Nathaniel Blair is a statistical wrecking ball. He draws red cards like a primary school teacher with a pack of texters. MacArthur's discipline levels are currently at suboptimal chaos. My model predicts that if they play another 20 minutes against him, they would be forced to play with a cardboard cutout of Millie Stojovski in goal.
Thank you, Anna. We will have to leave the spreadsheets there. It is time for the Mooned Report. Following our 3-1 triumph in Campbelltown, we must update the Warren Moon season tally for the men's squad. Our records now stand at 7 teams mooned, 5 half-moons, and 7 lunar eclipses. A statistical survey of the current standings reveals that the Mariners men have officially ascended to 6th position, while the Mariners women maintain their occupancy of 7th place.
What did you expect, Arthur? None of the women's teams were playing.
I am simply being thorough, Martha. Consistency in reporting requires that all variables be accounted for, regardless of active status. Looking ahead, the Mariners men return to our paradise this Saturday, March the 14th. They face Adelaide United at 3 p.m. It is a vital opportunity to consolidate our position and perhaps move even further up the astronomical charts.
3 p.m. on a Saturday. That's going to wreak havoc with your lunchtime soup schedule, isn't it? You'll have to be very efficient with your croutons.
The timing is suboptimal for a hot broth, Martha, but I shall persevere for the sake of the sport. Until next time, this has been the CCM Fans Report.